Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the T95. It's the Tier 9 American tank destroyer located on the eastbourne of Airfield. This one is under the command of Andromeda, and we've got a 2 replay game for you. I should say 2 replay video, actually, to be strictly correct. Okay, he's on the move. There's a nice series of videos by Sophie Line on her account, which on her channel, where you can actually watch the real T28 stroke T95. Of course, you know this vehicle's actual name is the Super Heavy Tank T28 because that's what it was finally called in 1945. Before that, it had been known as the Heavy Tank T28. And then it was called the T95, but they ended on Super Heavy Tank T28 in the end. Now it's got a 500 horsepower V8 engine and a 155mm gun capable of 750 alpha, and he just fired a round blind at the spot on the hill where he expected the enemy to suddenly pop out, and yes, there was an enemy there, but he didn't hit it. It was a T44. He auto aimed onto him by mistake. Trying to get a shot. Oh, he hit him! Low roll 741. But he is firing the APCR at the moment. He doesn't need to do that with the T44 because he's got 320mm of pen on these shells, whereas on the standard AP he's got 276mm. He'd easily penetrate the T44 with standard HE, in fact. I think the HE rounds would do 950 and they penetrate 90mm, and the side armour on the T44 is fairly thin. I reckon he would penetrate with the HE, even after the HE nerf. I think we know now why he came over this side rather than going towards the heavy tank confrontation area, because of course he could get that shot in on the T44 and any other enemy who's coming round from the south. At the moment though, this does seem to be rather a campy side because only the T54E1 has actually moved up. There are a number of tank destroyers sitting on that hill at D9 waiting for the enemy to come through the gap, but there's still a few tank destroyers near the cap area, the Scorpion G and the Jagdtiger. No, just a little too late there. And he actually aimed for the turret when he could have aimed just a bit lower and hit the body of the tank instead. In fact, the T44 appears to be firing in this direction, but it wasn't a very close shot. It might be that he was aiming for the FV4202 behind us. Okay, the IS-3's hiding. And we just lost our TVP VTU. Yes, the IS-3 knows that if he pokes his head out, he will get shot at. So he's actually at the moment remaining in cover behind that rock, hoping for the quick odd shot over onto the Temple Mount, the mount to our left. And in fact, the only tank we've got near that area now is an AMX-30. It's a tier 9 game with tier 8 tanks in it. I think sooner or later the enemy's going to realise that there's nobody really defending Temple Mount, and they might try to come across. But of course, the Jagdtiger to our right is probably going to be firing in that direction, as will the FV4202 to our left. And the AMX-30 just took a big hit. Yeah, he's badly wounded. 2 shots through the turret. He's probably wondering why everyone else hasn't moved up. And we're 4 tanks down on the enemy now. We lost the we lost quite a few tanks, like TVP, the AMX 5100, the Charioteer. We lost our light tank, the EBR-75 FL10, and the Hawk 12. And Andromeda appears to be very reluctant to actually move forward. And we just lost our Arty, the Lorraine 15551, was taken out by the Indian Panzer. So he must have been in sight of the Indian Panzer, and he probably went up on that rise to hide in the bushes, but just got seen when he fired. Not a very wise position to pick. Okay, to our left, we can to our right, we can see the T44 again. In fact, there's an LTTB up there as well. And oh no, he was actually on Temple Mountain. He's coming down now to try and make a charge into our area. And in fact, now he's going straight for the cap, and we missed him, but at least we got the kill on the T54. But the LTTB is actually to our right, and the Jagdtiger needs to do something about that, or the Scorpion for that matter. Indian Panzer's coming into sight momentarily and pulls back. LTTB got taken out by the AMX-30 in the end, I think, from the Temple Mount. He could see him. The enemy T-44 is still sitting in the pocket, but we're waiting for this Indian Panzer to poke his head up. Okay, we just spotted a Strib 1030 on Temple Mount. That's it, bit lower. That's it. Oh, lovely shot. High rolls, 787. Well, we're clawing back some of the lost tanks, but we've still got a 3 difference, which gives the initiative to the enemy. On hit points, though, we're about the same. Not much in it. About 1 tank's worth, if that. 1 shot from Andromeda will be enough to equalise the hit points. So it shows that our tanks are slightly more healthy than the enemy ones. There goes the Renegade. He's stopping the enemy tanks from coming through the heavy tank valley. Oh, and that's not good. We just lost the AMX-30 as well, which now means we're down 5 tanks and nearly 1,400 hit points as well. Oh, and we're losing more as well. Time go by. And we've had to surrender the sniping hill at D9. Strib 1 gets Strib 103. Now, can we get a shot into him? Yep, easy. And it was a snapshot at that. And the kill goes to the FP4202. So that's good news. And we don't mind if he takes the kill on that one, just so he gets that guy out of the way. And we need to get back some numbers, because now there's only 3 left on this team. 8 on the enemy team. Outnumbered more than 2 to 1. Oh, we tried to get the Indian Panzer, but he couldn't get it. Of course, being that we've only got the gun at the front end, we have to reverse away from the action. So we turn to get our rear to the enemy, then we might get shot in the rear as we're departing the battlefield. And now we've just got hit by the school bus, the enemy Arty. Oh, but this time round he does get the Indian Panzer, and he actually wiped him out with that shot. So now he can turn and engage the enemy who are approaching the cap. Now they've lost quite a few tanks trying to take the cap. They just lost their Udes and their Leopard prototype, but we lost our Jagdtiger, which now means this team consists of the FP4202 and Andromeda in his T95, and that's it. But there's 4 on the enemy team, outnumbered 2 to 1. The Strib 1030 is next to the cap, but not actually in the cap area. And the FP4202 is losing hit points. But it means now the enemy has to engage us in this area. Just need to be careful when we open fire here to see that we do hit the Striv, not our teammate. There he is. And he's out the game. That's good. In fact, that's 20% of the enemy hit pool, which means we might have a high caliber. We just lost the FP4202 to the T44. Now, we've hit that guy before, remember. Just waiting for the reload to complete, and then we're going to blast him. And he's out the game. That means there's only 2 enemies left now. There's a real chance of winning this. The only 2 enemies are their Doom Turtle, and that was him just now hitting us, so he's not AFK. And we know that the school bus, the SU-14-2, is definitely active because he hit us. Now, I have the feeling that what Andromeda's going to do is try and sit in ambush for the T95, get him to go to the cap and then engage him there, or go to one of these places where he can snipe. Oh, now he's foxing him because he's actually going to go back around the cap, let the T95 go into the cap, and then he can attack. I think it's very likely that he has got 20% of the enemy hit pool, and that might give him the high caliber for the game. The reason I say that is because he has had some pretty big hits. 4,500 or 4,600 hit points of damage and 4 kills. And I don't see anybody else matching that score at the moment. The highest number of kills was the T44 on the enemy team, and I didn't see him do a lot of damage. The school bus, the SU-14-2, is not particularly fast, so he may take a long time to get to our cap, but I think that is the T95 just capping now. And oh, there's the SU-14-2 coming in now, and he hasn't seen us yet because Sixth Sense hasn't gone off. But it won't go off for us now because he's been wiped out, and that means that the Doom Turtle in the cap doesn't know that Andromeda's here. He knows that the SU-14-2 was wiped out, but Andromeda's Sixth Sense never went off, which means that he wasn't seen by the school bus before the school bus was wiped out. Now, he could deliberately delay and let the counter get up to 70 so he could then drive in and pick up his defender medal by resetting, but I think he's just going to drive in straight away and get as much damage as he can. And it looks like there he is. Well, he doesn't pen, and he does take a hit from the enemy, which means that he is now a one-shot for that guy. He's going for the weak spot, well, the lower plate if he can. Get a reset? Yes, he does. So at least he might have a defender medal. He blocked the next shot from the Doom Turtle. Just waiting for the reload to go through. He'll reload first. And that one goes in. Now he just needs to angle. Angle. Or wangle, as Steve Walsh would say. Oh, he did! He blocked it! And it was an HE round. Because it's 950 alpha for the HE. And he kills the enemy T95 to get 6 kills, a top gun, and win the game. Excellent. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Andromeda of no retreat, no surrender in the T95. He got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle, and he actually ended up with, oh, it says here 4 critical hits, but I think he did, I'm pretty sure he did more. Oh no, well, no, he didn't actually. That's why he didn't get the bruiser, didn't he? Actually, it's getting for more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. Yes, it's not the bruiser. He got a Spartan medal because he took a non-penetrating shot from the enemy T95 when he had less than 10% of his hit points left. And in fact, actually, he blocked an HE round but it was a very bad choice of the enemy T95 to fire HE at that point. I think he thought that he would overwhelm Andromeda's armor with that HE round, but no, he needed to fire armor piercing to get through the armor on Andromeda's tank, and he just didn't do it, and that's why he lost the game. High caliber for getting the highest damage in the game. He did score it, as well as the Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. He got that when he killed the T95, and he did get a defender for resetting the cap. In fact, he reset it more than once, and well, I think we'll see how many cap points, or how many capture points, defense points rather, that he actually did get during that game. His win rate was 14,811 Super Unicum and some more. And it's not the first ace tanker that he's had. Let's have a look at team score. 6,809 hit points of damage from that game. The next high scorer was the enemy T95, who got 3,958. And the third highest damage in the game was Arty54E1. And, well, he didn't survive very long during the game because he was the one who went to confront the enemy straight away. He got 2,961 hit points. When it came to kills, the highest scorer again was Andromeda with 6 kills, which is 2/5 of the enemy team. And the next highest scorer was the T44 on the enemy team. He only got 3 kills, but didn't get much damage for those 3. And when it came to base XP, yes, it's Andromeda again. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,372, which makes him the only player to get over 1,000. 866 went to the T54E1. 794 went to the FV4202, who put up a good defense of the cap, and he got a 11 Slaves medal in that game as well. 15 shots fired, 12 direct hits on the enemy, and 11 penetrations. Yeah, there was that shot that he did fire at the T95, didn't actually pen, which was a bit of a shock and a bit of a surprise for him. The first one he fired at him in the cap area. I really honestly at that point thought that, oh dear, this is not going to go so well. But he did survive, and he did get damage on that guy and took him out of the game. 6,809 in total, 2,636, which was at more than 300 meters. Those were the shots he was firing across the map towards the enemy who were in the heavy tank area, in their pocket. He received 5 hits from the enemy. 2 of them penetrated, 3 non-penetrations, and 1 hit by way of splash as well. That was the SU-14-2, I should say. Poor guy never even saw Andromeda when he got wiped out. 1,140 hit points of damage blocked by armor. 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 6 killed, 133 hit points of damage assistance, and he did get 100 cap points whilst defending the cap. He earned 6,862 loss on that game. Yes, unfortunately it was a loss because he did fire a fair amount of premium ammo, and the premium ammo is expensive on this tank. But he didn't need to fire premium ammo because quite a few of those shots he took, he could have taken them either with armor piercing or with the HE rounds, and he probably would have succeeded where the T95 failed, because of course the T95 was using low penetration HE, which has only got 90mm penetration, against the 300mm on the front of the T95. Yes, it's 300mm around the mantlet. So it's very difficult to penetrate a T95 with HE rounds, whereas it's very easy to penetrate a T44 in the side if you've got high penetration HE. He got 5 bonds, and he also took away 2,058 XP from the game. So yes, it is what a battle. 4 medals and an ace tanker as well. Not bad indeed, and a very high win rate. Let's have a look at the second replay. The second replay is on Mountain Pass. Okay, off we go. He's got another Ace Tanker award on top of his tank now again. He's had quite a few of them. And I like his patriotic Union flag on the back of the vehicle as well. Being a Navy man, I wouldn't say it's a Union Jack, of course, because Union Jacks are only on the jack stay of a Royal Navy vessel when it's in port. But in actual fact, I have conceded in years recent that some people do say the common usage of the term Union Jack does include any other instance of the Union flag being used, but I suppose a Navy person would never ever say Union Jack unless they meant it as the Union flag on a jackstay. What is the Union flag? Well, it's the Union of Scotland and Great Britain. And you might say, well, what was Great Britain at the time? Well, that consisted of Northern Ireland. Well, not quite at the time. It consisted of Ireland, I believe, the Isle of Man, on the Crown Dependencies, the Channel Islands, and of course England and Wales. Wales always gets left off in these sort of like when you're thinking about it. And why did Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom join together? Well, basically so they could pay off their debts, because they were horrendously in debt. Because they, as an independent nation, they tried to colonise other areas of the world so they could build their own empire, but unfortunately it didn't work out too well, because the country they chose to colonise was Panama, and they had a tremendous problem of malaria in Panama, not to mention the fact that it's a very hot country and they didn't have the right clothing and the right material to trade, so all of the colonies that they founded went bankrupt. Okay, he's got some targets. My little bit of a history lesson is over, and the Object 430U is coming to sight, and that's the tier 10 Russian medium tank, or I should say Soviet, because it was designed by the Soviets. I always like to be specific on that. Oh, that was good. Even at close range, he just blasted around straight through. But he is using the APCR, and again, he's going to end up with a big bill at the end of the game because he's using the premium ammo. But it does almost guarantee his penetration, except of course that, because that one angled off the front armour. But he is bouncing the rounds that come from the standard B now, and the 430U is having difficulty trying to pen. And I don't think he wants to be in front of us at the moment. But that 430 is poking his head round the corner to take pot shots. Whereas the 430U is taking a quick look every now and then to see if it's clear. No, he's trying to tempt us to fire, provoke us to fire by just poking the front of his vehicle out. 430 is going to do it now, I think. They're swapping sides. Okay, he's realised if he pushes forward, it's more likely to get it. That's better. Yeah, he just overwhelmed the armour on the 430, and the 430U couldn't poke round, but he's now angle. Yeah, the 430 managed to get into a weak spot, probably between the tracks. Either that, the cupola. It was the cupola. Used the heat round. Oh, and he didn't get that one into the conqueror either. Now that 430U swaps sides now, and he's now engaging the 1516, so we need to get up this ramp as quickly as we can. The Conqueror's gone, so we don't need to worry about getting shot in the side. What we do need to do is make sure that that 430 does not kill our UDES 1516, and now he's not going to, because he's made the big mistake. That's it. Even though the 430U fired around at us, all he gave was Andromeda was a steel wall and got taken out of the game. Now we're one up on the enemy at the moment, and we could do a huge amount of damage now. The standard B was around the corner, but I think he's changed position. He's gone somewhere else. The UDES didn't find him. There goes the 704, taken out by the UDES. And that frees up the T30 and the Conway to go across the bowl. They're coming to join us. The standard B is in the bowl, actually, funnily enough, and the T30 and Conway have found him. He was hiding underneath the cliff, and I think the UDES wants a piece of him as well. Now we can take out the Waffenträger. There goes the standard B. Of course, he took a big hit. Arty's aiming towards the Waffenträger, or is it the... No, he's actually aiming towards the ice road. He's trying to take out the enemy T95. The Waffenträger has been found. He's at the other end of the bridge. He's being stopped from moving further forward by the Striv 1030. And that's the end of his game, taken out by the Striv 1030. And now that means there's only two left. The T95's on the ice road. And we've only got the 60 TP down there to stop him because the Udes just crashed. He fell off the bridge area, crunched onto the ground. You have to be very careful there. There are some ways you can get down, but you do have to be careful because you can easily flip or lose hit points in the process of demounting. So we're heading towards the enemy Arty, and he just killed our Conway, and Andromeda just also aimed and took him out. And that's it. The 60 TP's done the job on the T95 and it's game over. Well, that was a remarkably quick game, but action filled. It was only a second class tanker this time for Andromeda in the T95. He did get a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, and yet again he got a Spartan medal for blocking a ricochet or non-penetrating shot. That was from the 430U when he fired a 155mm round right through the roof, right through the turret of that medium tank, and took him out of the game. And he also got a steel wall as well for blocking the most damage in the game. And his win rate from this one, 2,901, which is very satisfactory indeed. I think I'd be happy with that sort of score. Knew that you'd actually taken the effect in the battle. And you can see that he didn't get the highest damage this time. It went to the T30 on our team, got 6,542. And he picked up the high caliber for that. The second highest damage of the game was the Object 430U. Yes, the one that Andromeda killed, 3,487. And the third highest damage was the FV4005, the Heshbon, with 3,217. And we can see that actually Andromeda's a little further down the table because there's at least 2 tanks more on the enemy team that are above him. Or is it 3 tanks? Let's have a look. It's he's actually in 7th place because or 6th place. 6th place, sorry, I get it wrong. Yes, because he's got 4 on the enemy team ahead of him and 1 on his own team. So yes, it does make him 6th on damage. Well down on his normal performance, but no, I suppose he won't be too bothered because when it came to kills, he was actually in 2nd place. The Udes got 4 kills. 3 kills went to Andromeda, 2 kills went to the Striv 1030 and the Object 704 on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's actually the T30 who did the best with 1,139. 1,025 went to Andromeda, shows he was working really hard, and those are the only 2 guys who managed to get over 1,000, with the Udes picking up 877. He fired 7 rounds in this game. Every round hit the target, but only 5 of them actually penetrated. He got 1 round which bounced off the front of the 430U. It was very unfortunate because I think he deliberately angled himself at that point to try and make Andromeda bounce a shell off. And the other one, if I remember correctly, may have been the Conqueror when he tried to penetrate that guy and he got the wrong angle as well, and it didn't do anything. 2,598 hit points of damage, all of it at close range, no damage at long range. 11 hits received from the enemy, 4 penetrations, 2 of those came from the 430U, 7 non-penetrations, and 2,860 hit points of damage blocked by armour. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 4 enemy vehicles damaged, 3 killed, 739 hit points of damage assistance. Again, he made a loss, 6,483 credits, and the reason was the fact that he was firing too many premium rounds. So I suppose he was doing it just purely to get the effect, because after all, he was up against tier 10 tanks in this game. And he did get 1 bond, even as a tier 9, and 1,537 XP. So decent amount of medals in both games. That was obviously the much better one on Airfield, where he picked up 4 medals and an ace. But he really did hang on and hold the line and win the game for his team. He was the last one alive, 1 against 2, but he still managed to prevail and pull off the victory. In this one, he had a lot more help because his team wasn't so bad. They did well, but he did have to hold off that Object 430U and the other 430, and as well that Conqueror and the enemy Standard B. But he managed to do it, and that gave his team the opportunity to then take the rest of the enemy out of the game. Hope you enjoyed both those replays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do remember we've got a second channel called The General where you can watch great replays without any commentary. Lots of kills, lots of medals. Thanks for watching.